Welcome to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, everybody. My name is Jimmy Lewis. This is the podcast where we talk about motorcycle and motorcycle-related products. My co-host tonight is Don Cayo Tequila. Nice. I even mispronounced that right off the get-go. But we have a banger of a show. This is show number 187. You may ask, how did we get to 187 shows? Because we are possibly the third worst motorcycle podcast ever.
But the best one from Pahrump.
That's the best from Pahrump, yeah. But it wouldn't be possible without the help of some awesome sponsors. Yamaha, Moto, Scott Sports, Climb, DDC. DDC, our first sponsor maker of awesome chain wheels. Trail Tech, Fasst Company, Seat Concepts, Bulletproof Designs, and Double Take Mirrors. They believe in what we do. We don't just talk about their products. We're just absolute shills for all of our sponsors.
Yep.
That's the way we do things around here. Not really. We tell it like it is. You can also support us by clicking through on our Amazon and Rocky Mountain ATV MC links. That's just go to www.dirtbiketest.com. And there's a little pull-down banner. It says support DBT, and you can help us out. But tonight, everybody asks, this is probably the number 3 question. Jimmy, have you ridden the Kove? The rally bike. The one from China. And I haven't. Still haven't. I touched one. I've touched 2 of them now. Actually 3, because it was 2 at the show, and then I touched Mike's bike. I have Mike Johnson on, who is a Kove, and I hope I'm saying this right, factory rider. Or is it just Kove?
Kove is correct. Yeah, that's how they say it.
Okay, so I was doing that right. At least I did one thing right on this show, so check that off. Do we have any other technical issues that I need to be aware of tonight, Matt?
No, smooth sailing. So far, it's been a good return to Pahrump.
Okay.
First live show in a few weeks.
Right, so last week you got to, when in my absence,
Yep.
I tasked you with co-hosting, or, hosting with Logan as the co-host. How did Logan do?
You did good, actually. I felt like we actually had a really solid discussion once I got over my, oh shit, I'm hosting nerves.
Right, and he spoke in, like, long sentences?
Yeah, really concise, really good. Had good points.
Oh, concise.
Yeah,
good. So, anyways, Mike, if you're not familiar with this show, we jibber-jabber about motorcycle and motorcycle-related products, like I said. Answer a lot of viewer, listener questions, and I try to, when I can't answer something, I try to find an expert. Hence, running into you at the Nora Mexican 1000 was really good, because I didn't know you were a Kove factory rider. I heard that you had a Kove and you were gonna race it in Sonora, and unlike everybody else, I knew you would finish. And then, lo and behold, they had this kind of Ironman challenge where they would grab you from the finish line of the Sonora Rally and drive you to the start line of the Nora Mexican 1000, quickly run you through tech inspection and registration, and bang, you're in for another 5 days of rally. And you took that challenge.
Yeah.
So
I did.
Let's first of all, how was Sonora?
Sonora was good. Little different than the typical routes that we would see. Little less dunes, but still a lot of sand. We were running after the FIM guys, so we had a lot of tracks to follow, not a lot of navigation. But there were a few places where they made mistakes, and then you still had to do some your own navigation. So a little different than usual, but a fun event for sure.
So they started like normal. They started the FIM motorcycles first, FIA cars. So that's the really fast cars that are doing the World Series, and then they started what they called the national motorcycles, and that's the class that you were competing in.
I was in the nationals. We had 3 riders on the Kove team. There was a Chinese rider, a French rider, and then myself, American rider. Those 2 guys, the other 2 guys were in the FIM class, and I was in the national class.
And
So yeah, we
so how did
started in my class. We started after the FIA cars and the FIM bikes.
so how did you pick up your Kove factory ride?
Well, it it happened kind of organically. Mike Georgeson was working on being a dealer. I think they were looking for a solid U.S. rider that they knew could get a finish. I mean, that was their primary focus, was to get a finish. And they kind of identified me as potentially that guy, and I was in for it. So that just kind of happened. The Nora part of it is something that I put together in the end, and that was kind of me just going to them and asking if they would support me to go to the Nora after the Sonora rally. So I was kind
Right.
of on
And
that solo.
so did so in Sonora everybody finished?
Yeah. So Kove had 3 bikes in the Dakar this year, 3 entries and 3 finishers. At the Sonora rally, three Kove entries and 3 finishers, and then I took one of those bikes down to Nora and finished that. So pretty good record going for Kove right now, I'd say.
Yeah, and they finished Dakar on the bikes, and now they've done the Sonora, and and you're like, as far as when I say factory rider, you have what is considered like kind of the rally or the competition version of that bike.
Right. Yep. And that bike
And
that I rode was the one that the French rider rode at the Sonora, and I pretty much took it, changed the oil, put new bib mousses and tires on it, cleaned the air filter, and started the Nora rally. So there wasn't a whole lot of prep done in between, and so that was like doing another 2/3 of the Dakar, on that bike. So, and it did really
so
well.
so yeah, and I saw this. You led and opened a stage for quite a long time on one of the days. I think day 2, right?
Yeah.
And you're always right up there. And Nora isn't like, we won't call it professional rally. It's more kind of they say it's the most fun race that there is. So what do they call it? I should know. Wait a minute. I don't
Funnest
have.
race
If
on
I had
earth
the
or something to that
funnest
effect.
race on earth, yeah.
Yeah.
If I had the Nora bottle of tequila here, I could feed right off of that thing. So good. Yeah, good times. But so durability doesn't seem to be too much of an issue, and I think that's a lot of times when we're talking about like Chinese built bikes that are from a company that doesn't have a long history. That seems to be it. But this is sort of a branch of, what is it? It's GPX Motors.
The distributor in the US is GPX, but I'm not sure how that structure transfers over into China. So I'm not sure if that, I know Kove has other bikes. And the platform for this motor is off of one of their adventure platforms, I guess, is what I heard.
Yeah, and I just haven't really had a whole lot of experience with the with the brand. It was like it kind of popped up, and there was the pictures of the bike, and and people always say it looks like a KTM knockoff. And when you look at the shapes and the designs and stuff, it does have the shape of a lot of the KTM things. But then you look underneath it, and it's definitely a lot different. The motor has more of, I would say, like I don't even want to call it. It's kind of like a Yamaha cylinder and head design to a certain extent. But then the bottom end is it looks kind of all of its own. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. And it does have a 6-speed transmission. A lot of the components of the motors, the detailed components look more like a Honda to me. And actually, Honda components will fit. The Honda clutch will fit off of 450X. I think the brake pads are 450X pads. So, I mean, that's kind of nice that you can get parts that are readily available for that bike. And also, the U.S. distributor is going to be stocking, all the parts for the bike, and they'll be able to ship them overnight if needed. So, parts availability, I don't think, is going to be an issue.
Right. And so the big question is like, how did it work? And so Mike, you have a not super current, but you have an older KTM rally bike, which
Yep.
is the one of the ones that you really can't get here in the United States.
Yep.
So you have some experience riding those, and you told me, but I want you to tell everybody here kind of like how did it work? What did you think?
Yeah. So I've got a 2016 Rally replica and a 2014. And I also raced a 2020, same as the one Matt was racing in the Africa Eco race. So I have experience on these the KTM Rally replicas. And the Kove, um, I wouldn't say it's not quite as refined as a rally replica, KTM rally replica, but the bike works really, really well. It's really comfortable. The ergonomics are really comfortable. The suspension is great. I couldn't believe how good the suspension was out of the box. And the handling, it's really, really stable, handles really well. You can pound whoops on that thing with 8 gallons of gas. So I was really amazed with that. Actually, it'll pound whoops better than the rally replica, which you don't really expect a lot of that in a rally, but when Jimmy Lewis lays out the course, you end up
No,
seeing quite a bit
no,
of
no,
that.
no, no, no,
So,
no, no. You're not gonna throw that. So anytime you were in hoops, that was not part of the course that I wanted to go on. In fact, I saved you guys about 40 miles, 40 to 50 miles
okay.
of hoops on day one. That's why he had that long highway transfer into the finish. And he was like, why would you do this to the motorcycles? I go, they'd rather ride down the highway than ride through those hoops down in San Felipe.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and in reality, when you guys started that second stage, there was really, when we laid it out and set it up, there was really only about 10 miles, actually 10 kilometers of hoops. The rest, anytime you were kind of in those sand washes,
Yeah.
there would have been four total tracks in that. There would have been one UTV, two motorcycles, 5 tracks, one UTV, two motorcycles, a second UTV, and then a car went through all that. And then I guess at the last minute, they changed the San Felipe 250 course, and they ended up using the same wash that we had gone down, which had been, they had the flash floods and stuff that wiped it all clean, and they
Yeah.
fixed that for you guys. And I felt bad when I found that out, because yeah, that kind of stuff happens. But yeah, that the thing that stuck out to me, and it didn't really surprise me, is that you said A, it was really comfortable, and then B, that the suspension was really good. And knowing that you've ridden the KTM's, and I'm not a big fan of the suspension, especially on, we'll call them the stock KTM rally replicas.
Yeah.
They tend to be, I think, kind of sprung a little bit stiff, but then they kind of blow a little bit through the stroke, which, when you're racing in Africa and stuff like that, that's kind of gets the job done, because it's more like chattery stuff than it is like big G outs or hoop-de-doos, or, well, they have big G outs, but there's not as many of them as we have, stateside or down in Baja. But yeah, it
Yes.
didn't really surprise me.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you use that expression that it kind of blows through the suspension, I see that a lot on the KTM's. And on this bike, it seems to have a really nice progressive damping. The harder you hit, the better it dampens. And even though it was undersprung, because I didn't get a chance to put the right spring weights on it for me, even though it was undersprung, I rarely bottomed. So
And
I was really
it has
impressed.
it has a linkage, correct, in the rear.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of shock it is?
It's their own. It's kind of a KYB copy, I think,
Right,
or
and then the
KYB
front fork.
forks. But
Yeah,
I'm not sure on the rear what exactly, but it just works well, and after all those miles, no fork leaks, nothing like that. So that was impressive as
yeah.
well.
Yeah, I usually cruise by where you guys were working. You were working through Tim Morton at Baja Bound, and I'd usually cruise by, and you'd be doing the normal things like looking at the air filter, checking the usual stuff, and it didn't seem like you were doing any extra maintenance or anything crazy like that. I know I guess what the sprocket wore out. Yeah.
Yeah. The Nels, who was the French rider, had put a 3-tooth bigger rear sprocket on it, which was actually better. The transmission is the ratios are pretty wide, so the 3-tooth bigger sprocket made it work a little better. But then I wore that sprocket out real quick, so I had to go back to the stock sprocket. So yeah, that was something I had to do. The first few days in Sonora, we had some fuel issues that they had a series of check valves between the tanks and on the gas caps. And I think that they hadn't done much testing maybe in the heat that we were experiencing. So that was pressurizing the tanks and forcing the check valves closed. So to resolve that, we removed most of the check valves, and then that all worked out. So like with any bike, there's some things you've got to work with when they're brand new right out of the box. But I mean, the things that I had to deal with were pretty minimal.
Yeah, and I mean, for a company to come out and they're not saying, hey, we're going to take over and we're going to win. They're just putting their products out there and running them. I know that they've given them to a few different, influencer guys that are doing a lot of videos and get a lot of views. And I kind of watched them, but I've heard what these guys say about other things, and I'm like, they don't have a ton of experience, but I knew you did. And it was funny because there was a lot of people when they found out it was a Chinese, they were calling you China Mike.
Yeah.
You got a nickname.
Yeah. I used to be Big Johnson, and now I'm China Mike. I don't
right. And yeah, you're a larger guy, you're a bigger dude. So, it's like not easy on the bike, but, yeah, it seemed like it was working good. The bike looks good. It wasn't like falling apart or anything strange. It did some, like the rally tower. It looks like it was made out of carbon fiber, correct?
Yeah, it's a carbon fiber tower, and I did have a little issue with some of the supports getting loose on that, and I had to repair that. But the factory is being really proactive on this stuff. We were scheduled for a meeting tonight and had technical difficulties, but they're all over understanding every issue and resolving it as quickly as possible. So the minor issues that we experienced, I think they will be resolving them in short order.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm kind of I'll ride one when the time comes when they can get one over here. And I talked to the guy at the AIM show, and they were interested, but they were kind of at the time in short supply. And yeah, like I was like I said, pretty stoked to see out there. I always thought it was going to finish. I mean, if they go do Dakar and then they're willing to come over here and they're willing to kind of send you over without, I mean, you did not have a mechanic. It was you and the bike from what I saw, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And it was a little bit of a risk for them, but it also shows they must have confidence in their product to kind of, I put that effort together pretty much the last day of the Sonora Rally. I called Tim. Hey, Tim, you got room for me? He goes, not really, but yeah, you're in, Mike. So, that worked out. Got in touch with the organization, asked them if I could do a last second entry, and they allowed it. So, and like you said, they had sent a trailer over to haul bikes across, over. So I knew they were engaged and enthused about making this happen. So, yeah, I was able to put all the pieces together, talk to Kove, and they were willing to support it with the bike. So, that's what we did, and it worked out. So I'm really happy. And that they are as well. So
yeah, no, that's cool. And so the plan is that they have it like a street legal version or a street going version, and then you were racing sort of the race replica that they're also planning on selling as a competition vehicle over here, correct?
Right. Yep. Yeah. The street version, I haven't seen it myself, but it's got a shorter suspension. It's set up for a shorter person. It doesn't have the rally tower. It's got an aluminum bracket or brace, and it's got like a instrument panel on it rather than the road book. The competition version comes with the carbon fiber tower, longer suspension, different mapping for the motor, and the road book, a couple of ICOs. So it's set up to race right out of the box.
Yeah, and so the standard one would be set up more as like an adventure touring bike, a long distance,
right?
450. Yep. Which, frankly, I'm really surprised that somebody else hasn't really jumped on that segment of the market that they haven't. I mean, I thought for sure Honda would do something more than a CRF 300L,
Right.
you know, and I'm always kind of surprised that KTM doesn't figure out how to shape one of their bikes, you know, with some big tanks on a KTM 500 or something like this. It's kind of mind-boggling, and I hope that takes off, because in reality, the 20 guys that want to have that need the race version kind of a thing, I mean, that's a good thing, especially if it's kind of factory built. But in reality, everybody can really use the adventure touring one, and then there's everybody that's like, well, yeah, I probably should get the adventure touring one, but I can buy the top fuel dragsters. So they'll go and convert their they'll convert their thing over. So
Yeah.
Anyways, I just wanted.
One of the big things, Jimmy, about this bike is the fact that they're available. If you want to get a KTM Rally replica, I mean, you have to get on a waiting list or know somebody, and you'll be lucky to get it. And it's twice the price of this bike, and parts can be hard to get. And so this bike, they're going to be available. Those were the first 4 to come in. That we had one spare bike at the Sonora. So those were the first 4 of the Rally version to come into the country. But I understand they've got a shipment coming in. I don't know the exact quantity, maybe 10 of them coming soon. And there will be other shipments following. The local distributor or the importer in the US will be carrying parts and able to ship every day. And so these are going to be readily available, totally different than what you would deal with on getting a Rally replica type bike.
Yeah, you pretty much have to have an entry in Dakar. You know, you have to have a confirmed entry in Dakar, and then, like you said, kind of know somebody or be able to kind of go through a team or a support angle on that. I know it's not easy, because I watched, you know, my friend Paul Neff, the stuff he went through to be able to get his hands on one, and then different things. So yeah, I mean, good on him. I'm stoked. I'm excited. Hey, better than they didn't just go on the internet and say they're going to build these bikes that can finish Dakar and then not show up for 2 years.
Right.
If you know what I mean, Stark Varg. But I guess Stark's shipping bikes now, so we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But hey, Mike, congratulations. How did you ended up finishing what, third?
Third overall, but there was a team effort in second place. I'm not sure how that works, and second in the Rally Pro class. So pretty good. I was trying to make, I was protecting the bike. The main focus was to get a finish, not to go, all balls out and try to get a win. So I was riding a little conservative and just making sure that everything went right, and it did. So I'm happy with the result.
Yeah, and Matt Sutherland's no slouch. He was riding pretty quick. I think it's everybody's that group. There's a lot of little navigation mistakes that were being made. You benefited definitely one day from that, but then everybody makes mistakes here and there. The other the other thing I was going to mention is when and I just lost my train of thought, but what was I going to bring up? Yeah, well, you can't. Well,
you brought up Matt. You brought up Matt. And that kind of brings a distinction between the Rally replica and the Kove. I would say if you were going to compare the two, the Rally replica is probably a little, like I said earlier, a little more refined, but it's probably a lot faster on all-out top speed. But the Kove is much more maneuverable. When we got into whoops and stuff, I could catch Matt like no problem. When we were on all out, fast straightaways, he's got a little bigger cojones than I do. So he was all out, but hard to keep up with a Rally replica on straightaways.
And we could there's places where we could view the tracking and stuff and see the top speed where it was definitely up a little bit on some, because there was definitely some long, fast roads that you guys went on. And then there was even times when I was out there just kind of sitting around, and there was like some really sandy, long uphill pulls and stuff. And that was the day after you switched your sprocket. And I heard you kind of going between fifth and sixth and fifth and sixth, where on those, and even on some of the other guys riding the XR 650s and stuff, they'd click it into fifth, and then they were just kind of wide open. But like I said, that's why that guy switched to the other sprocket. And if you'd known, you would have had a spare one of those, sitting around. But
Absolutely.
chains and sprockets are easy to change. But yeah, the fact that it's, like I said, the fact that it's affordable, accessible, I think this is all really cool. I mean, the rally now is kind of, gaining. I don't want to say it's getting popular, but it's gaining a little bit of attention here in the States, and lots of guys are putting on different rides and routes. So I was stoked. I was stoked to see you down there. Glad they supported you. Yeah, it's pretty good. And I know what I wanted to bring up. You also texted me and you wanted me to get him to put Kove on the results page. I was going to text back and like, bike's not homologated yet. It hasn't even got an official thing, but it was a drop down menu that the guy had built, and the guy that built it wasn't on the rally. He's someplace else. And so nobody there could figure out how to go in and do that. I did inquire about it and I did ask them to. I don't know if they finally were able to get to it or not, but yeah, it wasn't on the drop down menu.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to get the bike homologated and then get it put on the list. But next year, I'll definitely talk to him and make sure that it's in there.
Okay.
So
thank you, Jimmy.
Are you coming back? You coming back next year?
I'll probably be back. Yeah, sure.
Right.
It's
So
a very,
bring
very
the
fun event. I love the event. I've actually done it twice before, and they had an event that they called the Cortez Challenge, where it was the two events combined, and the last stage of the Sonora was a stage taking us from Sonora over to Baja, and then we started the Nora rally the next day. And
right. Yeah.
I think that was in maybe 2015 or so, 16.
Yeah, Mike Shirley did that one also.
Yeah.
He was riding down with me. He was kind of helping me with the course stuff that we were doing, and he had talked about doing that one as well.
But the
So,
event's grown
yeah.
significantly since then, and that after party was second to none. That was incredible.
Yeah, I didn't get to stay. I had to get back and get to work here doing. I don't know what I do for work. Does this work?
I think this is somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between it. Yeah. So I had to take off and Roost. So I did all that work and I didn't even get to enjoy the crazy party
Well, you missed a good one.
at the end. Yeah, fireworks on the beach in Cabo.
Yep. Fire dance,
Yeah.
flower dance. They had performances. Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, awesome. Well, anyways, thanks a lot for coming on. Tell your Kove contact. I don't want to be a factory rider, but I do want to ride the bike.
I'll let them know, and I'm sure something can happen. Yep.
Yeah, we like to get a test on that and tell everybody kind of like, in our words how we feel it works. But I do trust you. When you right away you didn't go on, oh, it's the fastest thing ever in this. You were just straight up honest, like, hey, the suspension's really good and it's comfortable. And I'm like, who am I to tell you that it's not? I mean, you definitely have the experience. So,
Yeah, well,
good.
I'll tell you, Jimmy, I never would have, after doing Sonora, I never would have volunteered myself to go and run the Baja Peninsula if the bike wasn't working well. I didn't want to just beat the heck out of myself. So, but when you go on the San Felipe course a week after it was run, it's kind of inevitable, regardless of what you're on. So,
right. Well, and then you went full factory. You switched from your normal. You're usually wearing Climb gear. You switched over and you were running Kove gear too.
Yeah. So the gear, when we got it, it's kind of like that's what I was talking about when I said jammies earlier. It kind of looks like pajamas. And I agreed to wear it for the prologue. I put the stuff on and everybody was kind of giggling. Even the Chinese guy, the Chinese rider, was holding it up and kind of laughing. But I got it all set up, rode with it in the prologue. And I was like, this is pretty nice gear. It's super comfortable, So
yeah.
I thought, well, I'll try it on stage one, use it on stage one. And I said, okay, I'm running it for the whole event. So it worked really well.
Yeah. Full factory. See, you just a shill for the company. That's the way it works. So, anyways, hey Mike, thanks for coming on. Thanks for all the support. By the way, Mike runs the Rally Comp. You also are the owner of Rally Comp. You make a actual rally computer that's used at a lot of different events. So, if you're planning on doing a rally event, talk to Mike about his Rally Comp and have him show up on his Kove.
Yeah, for sure. And I ran rally comps for both events as well. So.
Yeah, we in Nora they use the Stella, and so we've got to figure out what the the issue is, because there was definitely some sort of issues between having the two units, and we don't know. He kept, it's funny because Caesar kept saying it has to have a SIM card in it. It has to have a SIM card, and I wonder because yours has a SD card, correct?
Yes. Yep.
I wonder if now I don't know much about this stuff. Would that SD card put out kind of a noise or an interference that could affect?
No.
Yeah, I don't know enough.
I
about
didn't
this
understand
stuff,
where he was coming from with all that, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if it was an issue or not.
Yeah, you and Matt Sutherland were the only two that were having similar problems with the Stella unit when it was shutting down and just doing some awkward stuff. And for sure, some of it was on them, and they admitted that. But some of it they just couldn't explain.
Yeah.
But your two bikes were the only ones who were doing it, and also the only other similarities are the only two that were running the rally comp at the same time. And you were using the rally comp as a odometer cap.
Correct.
Repeater.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Matt was as well.
Cool. Yeah. So cool. Well, right on. Well, Rally Comp odometers top two out of 3. Oh, and here's how they work it. So since Nora is Mexican, it's kind of fashioned after the Baja 1000. You're allowed to run a team. And what's funny is everybody coming from the rally side, it's one rider, one bike. That's just the way it is. And if you're coming from like the score side or the Baja side, it's always a lot of teams. And so, Nora has always been kind of a lot about teams. And last year, I remember Matthew Glade from RMS getting to the finish line, and he's like, why did we allow teams? We need to be recognized for Ironman. And like, if you go to like a score race, Ironman is kind of like a second class. It's not the premier class sort of a thing. Or in rally, it would kind of be the other thing. So it's just Baja and it's Mexico, and that's the way it is. So we'll just let it sort out in the wash. But I think more. I really hope that more guys that want to get into rally, and you can probably expand on this. If you were going to do a first rally, I think the Nora would be one of the best ones to do.
Yeah, it's a little more relaxed. Not a ton of navigation. I mean, you threw some navigation on us on day one, and then sprinkled some in throughout the route. But for the most part, it's pretty simple navigation.
Yeah, it's not difficult. It's just turns. It's not really difficult navigation, especially if you slow down and take your time with it. But there's very few places where you're really going to use like cap headings and cap moyens and cap average, all the crazy stuff they do in the real rallies, we'll call them. This is more, I'd say, this is a fun rally.
Yeah. And normally it's a lot smoother than it was this year. It was pretty rough a lot of the way down, a lot rougher than I had experienced in the past, and which was a good endurance test for the bike as well. So, we really put it through the paces on that route.
Yeah, it was. I want to say that it was not as rough as it could have been, but things are getting just torn up down there because there's more and more trophy trucks with bigger tires, and they're using the courses. They're kind of getting limited in where they can go. It's just like it's expanding that you can't just go anywhere down there. But I promise you, if I go back and work on that event, it will be there'll be much better courses. Like I was talking to a few of you guys. I'd like to do a little bit more transfer to get you guys farther away from the cars to give us more time, because we really don't want car bike interaction at all.
Right.
And you didn't. I don't think you had any at all, did you?
No.
Yeah. We don't want even for the back markers to have this problem. So we were talking about ways to, maybe do a little bit more transfer to get us out in front, and then we can really use some different routes that the cars would have no interest going on. So yeah, it could get a lot better. Looking positive for the future. So
yeah. Well,
Mike.
Thanks for your input on the event. You brought it to another level, so I appreciate that. Everybody does.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it, and thanks for coming on, Kove factory rider Mike Johnson. We will see him out in the trail. So cheers, Mike.
Okay, thanks, Jimmy. Have a good evening.
Yep. There we go. Let's see. Gary Goodwin says, "Let me know, and he'll bring a bike down." Are you ready, Matt? We can go rally riding.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need more roadbook experience anyway.
Actually, you know what? When we're riding back from Tour Tech.
Mm-hmm.
You want to ride a Kove back? I'm
Sure.
riding my Tenere.
So I'll ride a Kove.
Because I'll smoke you.
Well, yeah, it's not a.
I'm gonna smoke you.
I'm not a racer.
Oh,
As
that's right. It's just an adventure ride. I forgot.
Yeah, it's just an adventure ride. No. I was reminded just how much I'm not a racer when I was at that. When Trevor invited me out to do the 450 shootout.
Oh, did you guys do that?
Yeah. I went out. There's a video of me talking about the bikes.
Just recently?
Yeah, literally last Friday. I drove out to Hesperia. My first time at Hesperia.
Hysteria.
Yeah, I got to drive the mom car off road. We didn't know if it was going to make it back out. Like I had Trevor's number pretty much on speed dial if I was going to get stuck. But
so he could drag you out with his big stomper
but
truck.
The mom
big
car.
Tires.
There was only 3 sketchy moments in and out. Only 3. So lots of
cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
So so that area? It seems like it favors some bikes more than others. Would you say that some bikes you didn't like and some bikes you liked?
Yes, 100%. And I would agree with that, but we were actually the course he had me on, it had a pretty wide variety of stuff. Like there was some tight sections, sandy sections, hard packed, rocky. Like I'll give it to Trevor. He did pick a really good loop.
Cool.
It was a wide variety, so I could see each bike's strengths, all in this loop. So shout out to Trevor. He did a good job.
Yeah, I just rode him around Glen Helen. I didn't care. No.
Yeah,
that's where we take every bike. Just go to Glen Helen. It was good. No, I was really impressed with all those bikes. I frankly the difference from my most favorite to my least favorite was so small that I could make a couple changes to one and it would catapult it to the front, or I could mess up a change on the one that I liked the most and it would kind of take it to the back, and kind of just got to the point where it's like if I say, what do I really want to do with these bikes? Like, what's my end goal? Like, do I want to do a little bit more motocross? I would lean one direction. If I wanted to do more trail riding off road, I would kind of go another direction. But all in all, pretty cool bikes. So
and I can see where each bike was like really good for someone, but I can't say the gap was that close for me. Like I had a very distinct last place.
You didn't like the Honda?
Nope.
Am I correct?
It was my third, but it wasn't my last. No.
Oh, really?
No.
Interesting.
I don't know if you want me to say it.
So if you want to, are you giving it up? Let's spoil Trevor's video he's coming out with.
Well, I already did say the place of the Honda.
Is the video's not out yet?
No. I'm pretty sure he's editing it right now.
He's probably got to do the old guy video first, right?
Yeah.
Or he's putting them all together.
He's putting them all together. So
okay.
So yeah.
Well, if you want to know more about what I think about these bikes, go to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday episode number 185.
186.
Oh, because you skipped because your show was so bad last week, you didn't even give it a number.
I gave it I called it a special.
A special.
Yeah. So it's not going to be a numbered episode. And I do apologize to everyone. I was on vacation and I came back and I was swamped with my new 9 to 5 job. I will get going on uploading the episodes that are not uploaded.
So what you're saying is Logan was so bad it didn't even deserve a number.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll blame Logan. He's not here to defend himself, so
right.
I'll just cast the blame on.
He could always call in
him.
if he would actually talk, but he's probably trying to text us the answer to that question right now.
He's gotten better about talking.
Yeah. I'm hoping that I brought some of that out because I really don't like to just abuse and make fun of kids like I do with Logan all the time. I think I call it we had a terminology for this.
It was positive reinforcement through
negative something or others.
Yeah.
It was a whole segment about that. I think I got in trouble from some people. They said I got to quit being so mean, but I'm not. I'm getting old and I can do this. So there we go. Do we have any questions? Hey,
there's a couple questions. Did you want to talk about the Stark news?
No, I want to talk about Seat Concepts because Seat Concepts seats are proudly made and developed in the USA by true motorcycle enthusiasts. Seat Concepts offers a wide variety of seat options from stylish replacement covers to complete seats, as well as various height and width profiles. In fact, I've been sitting on a Seat Concept seat this whole time because I like them so much. Yeah, it was right here underneath me. You didn't believe me, did you? So anyways, go to seatconcepts.com, as Seat Concepts has been saving asses since 2009, which really isn't that long, but they've sure figured it out in a short period of time. Mm-hmm. So all good. Stark news. I saw something where they started delivery of bikes. I'm like, really? I'm surprised that we haven't heard more about it. And I'm like, well, somebody should have run to the YouTubes and said, hey, look, I got my Stark. And so I did a little more research. And evidently the guy who's the first customer, and there's an interesting story behind that too, evidently, because somehow he ordered his bike before the website even went live.
Huh.
Don't know how this happened. But he's now a Stark customer number 1. He's got his YouTube channel. He's gonna go super viral. He'll be more famous than Tech Talk Taco Tuesday already. And but they flew him over to Barcelona, and he got to ride his bike and did this whole thing. So for me, it's another one of these. Man, they're good at marketing.
Yeah,
it's and he, but then Cycle News did an interview with the CEO, and he explained a lot of the stuff that they have going on, and so they are supposedly releasing the bikes. It's a little hard to get them over here so quick because they got to put them on a ship and the whole 9 yards. Maybe that's why they sent this guy over to actually kind of get the news out. But I'm pretty sure they'll be coming out in Europe a little bit sooner. They're released as a 60 horsepower motorcycle.
Not the 80.
No, I don't know whoever would say that, like right from the very first time I heard it, but somebody did, me. And they made some changes. They made a couple changes. One was to increase the battery capacity, because they remember when they started talking about like the battery capacity and the charge and all this stuff like that. And I said, that's kind of impossible. Well, I guess it was. So they addressed it, which is good. And they're saying that they're small. They're able to make these kind of adjustments. Things are going good. And it took about the amount of time I thought it was going to take for them to get supply on certain things. So good. I mean, I hope I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just pointing things out.
We're not poo-pooing the product. We're poo-pooing the process. Well, how they just came out with all these bold claims.
Yeah, just it's okay. It's completely different than, like, for instance, Kove, for instance. Like they said, hey, we got a bike. Here's the bike. They gave it to people. They went out and rode it.
And it's organically it was generating interest.
It was kind of pretty much, yeah. I mean, I can't believe how many questions we get, but people know I ride these kind of bikes, and so they kind of did it. Bang, they're at Dakar. They didn't. There was no big announcement. We're going to go take over Dakar. They show up at Dakar. They finish their bikes. Now they're out here in high profile things. I mean, I'm sure they're looking for dealers and doing all that stuff, but it's like two different ways of doing it. And I think, but when they're talking about, Stark is talking about having the capability to produce 150,000 bikes and kind of saying this right up front. I think they pre-sold 18,000, so they're really focusing on scaling up to meet that need. And I don't know how many of those are, how many people canceled their orders or what after a year. I know a few people that did, and then whatever. But yeah, it really, when the product gets out in people's hands, then we'll start seeing how things work. In like Kove, it's in people's hands, and they're kind of, like I said, they let Mike Johnson go down to Baja and run the peninsula on it.
Yeah,
that's ballsy. There was no factory mechanic, no factory truck. He didn't have a very big. His parts box was pretty minute. In fact, I think he only had a couple air filters because they were washing them. So, yeah, good on him. So, yeah, that's the Stark.
Do you know if we'll be getting one?
I was told that we can. I was told even though I lip off about it all the time, I told him, I said, hey, I'll eat my own words when I ride the bike, and it's the best thing ever. I've ridden most of the other electric bikes out there. I rode the Alta a fair amount. Was pretty impressed with that bike. There was things right and wrong with it. Spent a fair amount of time on that. I rode that KTM, the Freeride EXC, way more than I should have. Just because I want to learn about how these things perform. What is it like when the battery gets hot? How long does the battery last? Just things, the questions that we're going to get asked, because I don't want to, and that's why when they say, hey, just come and ride it you can ride my bike for 20 minutes and, fly it over to Europe and ride it for 20 minutes. I'm like, no, I want to have the user experience. I want to take it to places that I know how bikes handle and perform, and like same reason we go to Glen Helen and ride around and do things, because how it compares to other bikes that you've ridden there, things like this. That's how stuff works. So we got a couple questions.
Yes, we do. So Benjamin Baki III was saying he's having a few issues on a 2018 KTM 500. So it has a new Git ECU
Oh, wait a minute.
Promo
He should have bought a Yamaha. Yamaha, a very fine sponsor of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. So if you're having problems with your KTM, which everybody does, in fact, I heard that if you hook tie downs up to handlebars after you buy it at the dealer, that's the beginning of all your problems.
Right.
I mean, actually, if you take it away from the dealer, that's really, but the tie downs are kind of the symbol thing. That's probably why I'm maybe not getting invited to go ride the new AXCs, because I say this kind of stuff. And they think I'm just a shill for Yamaha. But in reality, Yamaha has the best power tuner app on the market. You can take your YZ or YZFX or your WR now with a competition ECU in it, and you can tune the motor to make it do anything you want. It's already riding on one of the most stable, best suspended platforms known to man, and they're blue. So check out your Yamaha at a Yamaha dealer of your choice, and then you won't have any problems with the KTM. So continue, Benjamin Blake. Right. 3.
Promotability uncap, smog delete. Started backfiring on the D-cell. All fuel filters and injectors are in spec, including the valves. Seems like I could be a rich condition. Any thoughts? And there's like a light perfectly in the way, so I'm dancing to.
Okay, I can see that. So so generally the backfire, well, they can be lean or rich, but generally what it is, if it's rich, you have an air leak inside the exhaust, and so then that rich mixture is getting in there, some air is getting in there, generally in the muffler, the header pipe and muffler connection, or it could be doing it up where you added that end cap, because now all of a sudden that's where the gases are kind of getting out. It's kind of rare for them to, I mean, they can, it takes a pretty rich mixture from a backfire, but a lot of times it's lean on D-cell. And I have to admit, almost every time I've done stuff with the Get ECUs, when they come in a standard fuel, the way they're delivered, they have some issues with, I will call it low or off throttle situations. So it could just be the tune of the ECU. I don't know. Like the good thing about the Vortex ones is they have a couple switches that you can just analog, screw in and lean the low out, lean it and richen it, and then you can very quickly figure out, is it rich or lean? I don't know. In 2018, I don't know if you have the ability to do the tuning through an app on your Get ECU, but if you do, same thing. Find some zero throttle position settings and see if you can lean or richen it in 0 or low RPM, or actually even mid RPM, but low small throttle positions, and see where you're at, and try that stuff out. But I know Mike at Taco Moto probably has a more concise answer for that stuff, because he sells those things all day long, and that is what you have is a very standard setup. I wouldn't blame the like the fuel filters or anything like that. I would say it has to do with the what the ECU is doing, and possibly an air leak in the exhaust system at some point. So okay,
he's saying it's the Taco Moto Get ECU tune. Would having the reeds in affect that?
If they don't know that you have the reeds in, yes, absolutely. So reeds in or out is a huge difference in the tune you should be running on your ECU, especially on top end. Maybe not so much on the bottom end, although because it's kind of like a supercharger. People think it's an emissions device, but it's kind of like a supercharger there. So yeah, it's a different tune. If they don't know, if you haven't been provided a map specifically for reeds in, then you need to get a map that has reeds in. But most people take the reeds out with those just because generally you're going for higher power, and the reeds do limit high power.
He's saying he thinks we have a bingo.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's why I get paid the big bucks here at Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, answering your motorcycle and motorcycle product related questions. I'm going to turn to my co-host right now, Don Cayo Blanco. So I picked this up down in Cabo San Lucas at one of my favorite little tequila shops down there called West Coast Tequilas. It's owned by a guy in Oregon. I don't know him, but the kids he has working down there are good. We broke the taste testing record, me and Mike Shirley.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We had more taste tests than anybody's had in one sitting. And the strange thing is Mike kept telling him, what do you do when people have a lot of tastes but they don't buy anything? So we had him a little bit scared, but we bought some stuff.
Nice.
So it was all good. We bought the maximum we could legally bring back across the border.
Nice.
So, okay.
So Mike H is asking, what's the highest comfortable highway speed on the Tenere 700?
That's a really good question. So it depends on how much you like your fuel economy. So it's real easy once you start going over 70 miles an hour to just blow your fuel economy out the tailpipe. It's crazy. Actually, I just got my tune installed into my Tenere. I haven't ridden it, but I finally got I got a thing that reflashes the ECU and all this stuff. So I'm working on this now. So the speed, I want to say at like 85 with it kind of stock suspension and everything like that, it's doing something to where it starts to become a little bit unstable. And it feels to me like it's actually kind of catching, it's kind of catching some air and getting light on its tires. And so I kind of want to play with the ride height a little bit when I'm going to be doing long pavement sections. I feel like I might want to add some rear spring preload and kind of lift it up. It feels like the wind's picking it up and making the front end very light instead of kind of driving it back down on the ground. But I don't know. I think that, I'm pretty sure and then it has a lot to do with tire balance and what tires you're running. And I've got hand guards on, different hand guards on my bike. And, sometimes I've been running with, the panniers. I got the TourTech Zega Pros on there now, and that definitely changed it a little bit. So I have to play with it more. But yeah, it's definitely not a leader bike. It's not like my KTM 1090s and 1190s and stuff like that. You're kind of straining at that point. Once you're kind of going over 70, 75, you're a little bit deeper into the throttle. But I've got it going 120 something. So it'll go that fast. On the dirt, it seems like it's more stable on the dirt at that kind of 90 mile an hour range, but then it'll also do the same thing at a higher speed. So
Gary said he'll DM us about the Kove.
Cool. Yeah. Well,
cool.
I mean, if they're selling them, there's no reason to have us ride them if they're selling them, is what I always say. And some manufacturers know that, but then they never get you one, and you never even know. And it's like, how does that thing work? I'm like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mike H is asking, thanks for that. At what point does it become abuse to the engine? It's a long haul out of. Thanks.
Oh, it's never abuse on that engine on the Yamaha, the Tenere. No, you can just send it on that thing. You can hold that thing wide open from here to Texas, and it'll be fine. If there's one thing that Yamaha, in my opinion, is like Honda and like KTM, from what I know, they do a lot of durability, and actually all the manufacturers do. I know this, and you don't have to worry about. It's not abuse to the engine. If you keep your air filter clean and don't run it on the rev limiter, and in top gear, you're not going to be running on the rev limiter. It just doesn't. It's geared properly, so it doesn't do that. You're not gonna have a problem. Could use a lot of fuel though, especially with the headwind you guys have out in Texas. I rode across the half of that state with one of the gnarliest cross side winds. I mean, we were riding sideways the whole time. It was nutty.
Like a ridge lift bed?
No, because there was no ridges. But had there been ridges, it was just flat, boring, windy. The only thing, it was just your neck, just shaking your whole. It was like you were in a Batman. You're in a Batman TV show where you're in the criminals, you're in the bad person's thing, and the whole set was crooked. Mm-hmm. Do you know this? Do you remember this? I've seen videos. They turn it sideways. That's the way I feel about Western Texas. It's like a bad Batman TV show. So, okay, we got more questions.
None from the chat.
Not from the
chat. I see. We can. I do want to answer the question that we were asked on our other show.
Okay.
Which was, what suspension setting will help with traction, or suspension adjustment helps with traction?
Oh. So yeah, we were doing a Better Rider podcast, and somebody brought us a Tech Talk Taco Tuesday question. They said, "What can I do to adjust my shock to get better traction?" And in reality, I said there's a lot of stuff you can do, not just adjust the shock. Most riders, for traction, will adjust their body position to weight the wheel properly, where they want it, or whatever. But if for some reason that's not working, and maybe it's like, UTV bumps would be a perfect example as opposed to just standard car washboard. Maybe it's just something, the rebound seems to be the shock rebound adjustment seems to be the most effective, and generally it's lightening it up, so allowing it to move a little bit quicker so it follows the ground better or puts the tire back on the ground a little bit sooner. But this is kind of assuming that everything else is proper. And this is where they start talking about bike balance, with your is your sag adjusted properly? Is your fork height right? Can you slide the forks up a little bit and take a little bit of weight off the rear wheel, or add weight to the rear wheel? Is it an uphill versus downhill situation? There's so much that goes into that. The easiest thing to do is just move your body. And then for a lot of people, they've tightened their rebound up enough to where the bike, they don't want it to kind of kick on bumps, and maybe they've caused it to what we call start packing. And so it gets into kind of a harsher part of the stroke, so it's not as fluid. And then it also kind of rides a little bit low, and it doesn't rebound quick enough, so it tends to move slower and doesn't follow the ground. So that's the answer there.
Yeah. So Finn came in with a question, so we'll do his question, and then we'll go to commercial break. So Finn 825, will 24 WR250/450 US metals get an unlocked ECU when map switch? Yamaha ended the green sticker for California, and KTM released the Trail 450 XCFW without emission stuff. Maybe Yamaha will follow?
So what I know right now is that right now in California, the only off-road 450 you can buy is the Honda CRF 450X. You can't even buy a Yamaha WR, a 23 Yamaha WR in California. Yamaha has decided, or they feel, that it is illegal for them to sell that bike in California. Now, the reason I was told is that a couple years ago, California bumped up or kind of introduced a standard a little bit quicker than they said they were to do with evaporative emissions. So, in other words, you have to have a sealed gas tank and you have to have a charcoal canister. So the bikes don't have this, and they can't just fit it on there, like retrofit it on there. They want to do it properly. So they just said, well, we're not even going to bother with this. So that's where it's at. I don't see the WR line, even 250 or 450. I don't see those bikes changing because it's not in their cycle just yet to go to the newer platform. Like next year, you're going to see what I guess is, if they keep trend, and they seem to be pretty good, you'll see that 450 FX become like the 23 YZ 450, and then there should be an all new YZ 250 F, and then everything kind of starts following after that. The WR usually comes a year or two later, and maybe at that point they'll change it. I know KTM in 24. I didn't read the. So KTM released the Trail XCF 450W. So I don't know I don't know how that's being released as a. I mean, all they have to do is take the license plate and stuff off, and they did this with the 500 EXC a couple years ago. Is they made a XCFW, not an EXC. XC. There's so many letters on this stuff, but they just took some of the lights off of it, and I think it had something slightly different, maybe in the exhaust system. But other than that, it was a 500 EXC with less lights, and it was a California version. So it's not that hard for them to do, because the EXC is a street going one, and they're able to get it in there. But there's all kinds of regulations that go on with this, and these companies have to kind of jump through hoops to make this stuff work. So that's what's That's what I know. So time for a break.
Yep, we'll take a commercial break and we'll be back.
The defending champion, the all-new Yamaha YZ450F.
What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here from Taco Moto Co. What is the Taco Touch? It's the best service in the industry. Virtually 24/7 tech support via email or text, and it's like having a dirt bike doctor on call every day of the year, helping you fix your bike or recommend parts or setups for you. If you've ever received an order from us, you'll know that the Taco Touch extends to our fulfillment, and our orders come with the coolest stickers that you've ever had, buying parts from anybody before, and a handful of root beer barrel candies. All of our Taco Moto Co. branded components come with a no questions asked lifetime warranty, and we'll even extend out the warranty of other manufacturers, OEM, and aftermarket parts where we can, sometimes for life. We test and tune endlessly and exhaustively and obsessively. We're trying to destroy everything that we can before you get your hands on it to look for weaknesses and to improve it, or to make recommendations to the manufacturer. And if it's something that doesn't meet grade, then we don't offer it on the store. Everything that we carry is something that we have personally used, tested, and ridden, and raced, and knows meets the high Taco Touch demanding standard. Go out and get some adventure.
Whoops. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Busy. Don Cayo, my co-host tonight. So, couple little things. The Tech Talk Taco Tuesday t-shirt, the one we're going to go with here in gray, available soon. We're going to do a limited time order, and we're going to get them printed up and sent out. So if you are interested in supporting Tech Talk Taco Tuesday with a nice t-shirt like this, you can get your hands on one. So that is going to be happening real soon. I want to have a big special show when we do all that stuff. There's some things in the works. Our man on the street, Jerry Bernardo.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, he says he'll come back out. He says he's a little busy right now. He's got a lot of stuff going on. But he says he'll be back out to help us pimp this shirt, because we're going to become a t-shirt company, because it's podcasting thing. You can't be the third worst motorcycle podcast forever. Taco Moto, it's bringing you this next segment called Roost or Endo. If you're not familiar with the segment, it's where you send us a picture of your bike. Make it a nice picture, please. Tell us the year, make, and model. These are very important things. It's just the easy stuff, my friends. Pretty picture, year, make, and model.
And a list of mods.
Then tell us about your bike. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a list of mods. I mean, it can. And the list of mods is great, but it doesn't have to be. I don't want an epic about like how your bike was conceived.
I'll never forget the spreadsheets we've
delivered. Yeah, we don't need spreadsheets of every part. Like I saw one, I was glancing at it, said these are the parts over $100. Which that might be okay, but I don't. Just tell us what you did to your bike, maybe why. Make it interesting. Because remember when we had Logan read these things? It was painful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's painful.
And then we can never forget Cooper's titty tail.
Right. Cooper's titty tail. He's still broken too? Is he broken?
I haven't heard from either. I haven't heard from him in a while, actually.
Yeah. They don't like talking to old people anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting to that age.
I'm 26 now, so I'm old people too.
Right. That's what I was pointing out.
Yep.
So, Taco Moto, this Friday, 3 p.m., Taco Moto's new shop open house. So you can go. We're going to be there. I'm pretty sure.
Are we going to be there as dirt bike test or the riding school or both?
Well, I don't know what Dirt Bike Test has to sell. We have a couple shitty old T-shirts that we can bring.
Yeah.
Maybe we can bring some of those T-shirts and we can hawk them and try to recoup some cost on the old versions. I like some of the old versions. I do like that, but there's very few larges and very few extra larges because we used them all. But we have mediums and small. So bring your kids. Takamoto, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Come by and say hi. Check out Takamoto's shop. There'll be some vendors and people there. I think Moscow Moto was one of the people I saw listed. And I imagine they'll have tacos, you would think.
Hopefully.
Right. We could, we'll be there. We'll be pimping the riding school that we're not going to have another school till October at least down here.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get you some private lessons.
Maybe
hook you up
even then.
Private lesson classes.
Yeah. Even then, you got to be ready to show up early.
Yeah, because it gets hot out here.
Yeah, it's already really hot. So, okay, ready to go into Roost or Endo?
Okay, let's go.
First one of the night is going to be from Justin Sutherland. This is 2010 Yamaha YZ250 with 2015 plus OEM restyle kit. This is the Faster USA wheel set, a tubeless tire system, IRC VE35 front with a VE33S Jacoda rear tire, Honda CR front brakes with a master cylinder caliper and pads, and it also features an oversized rotor. Streamlined steel braided brake lines front and rear. Streamlined reflex clutch and brake levers. Tusk shifter / brake pedal. Tusk foot pegs. Tusk rear disc guard. A Cherubies chain guide slide and sliders. Fastco's flex handlebars. Cycra rebound handguards. Scott's Performance steering stabilizer. An IMS 3.2 gallon tank. Electron carburetor, which is great for riding in Colorado. Moto Tuscanari.
Yep.
V-Force 3 reed / reed block. FMF gnarly pipe with turbine core 2.0 silencer. Stealthy 9-ounce flywheel weight. Super sprockets. Primary drive X-ring chain. Moto seat seat cover. AXP extreme skid plate with linkage guard. Stick stand because my Fastway kickstand broke.
Well, you should have had a Trail Tech kickstand on there.
Yeah.
That would have helped. Fastway makes good kickstands also. They're actually even a little bit more robust, but I'm curious about how he broke the kickstand. Was he on it like it had fouled the plug and he was just kicking it like crazy?
Maybe.
That's a very well set up machine. And you know what's good about Fasst Company flex handlebars? They make any bike better for your wrists. So nice looking machine, nice looking photo. It does look cold, which I'm kind of wishing it was cold right now, but it's going to be hot. I wish
it's really hot
because I see the snow and it just means moisture, and I think we're out of moisture. It's all gone out here. So that creek looks at full. It looks nice.
Kickstand broke at the hinge, according to Justin. He is in the chat.
Yeah. They have a very complex hinge on the Fastway. I will tell you that.
Brenda's saying hard roost.
Hard roost, yeah. I think there's no question that this is a roost. This is a very nice motorcycle. I would tell you, Justin, if you want to make this bike one thing better, investigate getting the power valve ramp inside of your the one from the X. And I was really, really surprised at what it did. There's like one of the only changes, like I think slightly lower compression, and they have a different ramp for the power valve, and you'd have to check the part numbers. I know on the 125 for sure, but on the 250 it really, really helped the power of the YZ for trail riding, and especially if you go to the direction Electron, which I know it kind of smooths out the power. This does. I think it opens it up just slightly slower, and it really made a big difference. But yeah, that's a Roost. I like
It's
that. I like that bike.
Good Roost. Really good Roost.
And it's not the only reason that it's a Yamaha.
No, but it doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't hurt.
So this is going to be.
We're getting more Yamahas.
We are getting more Yamahas. We're breaking out from that EXE.
Yeah, all
submission.
EXCs.
So Josh Korpovich, who won our last Josh K. He won our last Rooster.
That
Endo.
bike looks really familiar.
Yeah, and he actually he's the one who submitted the nicest photo. I think this is right up there in competition with that WR as one of the nicest photos we've ever gotten. This is a 1997 KTM 620 Rally. Jimmy raced one in the 97 Dakar, and I believe he raced this exact one in a score event back in the day.
Nope. I raced it in a Best in the Desert Tonopah 300. And it was after I finished Dakar. But what's funny about that bike is that one, because it definitely had the Vosberg sticker on it, because that's because Gary Vosberg bought the bike, and the only way that they could get it to him, I don't know, it was one of those weird things where they had to do some sort of media thing for it. And so I was a journalist, and they're like, let's have Jimmy ride it at a race. So I went and soloed the Tonopah 300, and I was not really interested in I was not really interested in racing a bike that wasn't designed to do that kind of racing in that kind of race, although like Ricky Brabeck would just laugh at me right now, but because he did Vegas to Reno on his rally bike and beat everybody, but and Skyler did it also on his rally bike last year. So but it's different now. They're this is a girl's bike. It's only I think this is a 620. I don't believe. Is he say 620 or 640?
620.
Yeah, so it's a 620.
Yeah, he said Paul Krause used this one as a practice bike before the 98 Dakar.
Yeah, okay, so maybe they did get a different rear side panel tank, because mine I remember being a little bit different. I raced a purple one the first time, and then I raced an orange one the second time. But that thing is highly polished. So, yeah, I know I raced one of those when they brought it over here. But
yeah,
and then shortly after that they brought over the six. They think, God, I don't even know what the hell they called those things. But anyways, they were, you could buy these. Actually, wow. Ryan Hanna had one. We had one as a long-term bike at Cycle World, and then Ryan bought it and tried to ride Vegas to Reno, and it lit him on fire essentially.
Oh no. Since he won, he knows this is not a competitive entry, but just wanted to show it to us. So thanks for the submission.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, that's a sweet bike. Brings back some memories, good and bad. I think. I don't remember.
All right, next up is Western Rogers.
That I just saw that photo pop up, and that's Virginia City Grand Prix.
Yep,
I can tell. I've never raced it. 2021
KTM 300 XCW. This picture was taken at the start of the 52nd annual Virginia City Grand Prix. Took first place in the Warrior AM/EXP class, which is the military veteran class.
Okay.
Slavin's Mule Get ECU with Wi-Fi module. Slavin's Mule S3 carbon high compression kit head. Pinnit Racing TBI injection relocation kit. WP Exact Pro 660-500 cartridges. Stock rear shock with Racetech Gold valves and spring. Bulletproof radiator guards. A chair bees skid plate. Front disc guard, swing arm guard, and fork shoes. E-line header guard. KTM rear disc guard. Tusk radiator fan, FMF turbine core 2, ODI V2 Rogue lock-on grips, Pro Taper CR high bend, Mako 360 bar mount, Nitro Moose bibs, and Dunlop Geomax MX33 tires.
I don't like any of his mods. Almost all of them. I don't like Nitro Mooses. I run Nitro Mooses.
Bulletproof radiator guards.
Oh, bulletproof radiator guards. Yeah, those look sweet. I mean, that bike. That's what you see. I'd like to see more of the bike, just to because we analyzed the bike. But I'm kind of stoked on his riding style.
Yeah, good body
he's
position.
Good body position. He's up on his feet. He looks, it's kind of like he's going.
Mm-hmm.
It looks good. Pretty sweet. I think it just Roost, just because I knew where it was. I mean, where else do you get to race down the street and do pop wheelie, do a little jump, all that?
Yeah.
Bike has lots of stuff on it. I'm sure he's really proud of it. But yeah, that's a lot of. I actually, so I would like to just ride that. What year was it?
A 21.
21. Yeah. So I have a 19, and it would be just interesting to like just kind of ride it back to
Western's in the chat.
back to back. What do you mean none of his mods? None of my mods?
Yeah, you don't like any of his mods.
No, I don't like any of his mods. I'm no, they're. I was just going on kind of sponsors of the show sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of there's a lot of other, but we don't discriminate. All that's it's kind of funny because I would almost want to ride that to see what all those changes do that's different than what like all of my changes do. There's so much stuff going on there with the suspension and with the engine characteristics and all this stuff, and it's like a different flavor of ice cream, I guess.
Yeah.
But the reason I would want to ride it is just I want to see how it works, and more so to say, is there anything about this that I like really a lot that I would want to transfer it over to my bike? That's why you should always ride your buddy's bike if you get a chance. I always have my friends ride my bikes, and mostly because I want to ride theirs.
Yeah.
I just want to try it for a second, or I want to see what they say. Like sometimes I'll change something and I'm not really sure about it, and I just want to see if it may be working really good or really bad. And I honestly, and a lot of the guys that I ride with are pretty sharp. They pick stuff up. So I have them ride it, and they're like, what the hell are you thinking with this tire? Or, what's going on with your rear shock, or, whatever. And I'm like, oh, you noticed it? kind of a thing like that. But yeah, I'm sure that bike makes him happy. Ride your friend's bike, spend $20,000. No. Oh yeah, Brenda had that problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a popular problem.
Well, see, that's the thing is I'm going to just minimize it. I'm going to find out what that one sort of thing. And when I hear that list of all the, different ECU, relocate the injector, the full suspension wholesale, it's kind of like, was the stock stuff really that bad? I just bought some whole different internals for my Explorer forks today just because I want to try them. I want to test them. Mm-hmm. I was just gonna call up and say, hey, I'm Jimmy with Dirt Bike Test, and go that route. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna buy them and run them, just see how they work, and that way I know. And so, because I know, I know what I feel. I mean, is it better or worse? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, is this a Roost or an Endo though? For me, this is a Roost.
It's a Roost.
Yeah, I like this picture.
That's fully Roost. So we have a discussion going on the side where we're talking about what is the best trail saw. Mm-hmm. And in all honesty, the best one it's called a Big Silky that I used on my tour of Idaho. I think mine was a 22-inch, 24-inch or something like that. But it's a folding, retracting saw. It has the right hook, super sharp blade. I've used a lot of different trail sizes. You can go get one for, a quarter of the price at Home Depot, but it cuts about not even half as good, like weight, not even nearly as good, and it breaks, and they break real easy, and they don't fold down, they don't stay locked. The Big Silky locks and stuff. I think you can go. I wonder if Martin still has a link on his website at motorcyclejazz.com. He used to have some stuff. So the Silky Big Boy, that's the one. Although, you know what I have been carrying on some of our, so I was carrying an electric chainsaw around. I started carrying a reciprocating saw, like the Makita, the short Makita, a reciprocating saw, and with a really aggressive Dominator, Destructionator blade. I was blown away by how good that thing worked for, kind of like, not, I wouldn't call it clearing trail, but just getting through some stuff that you needed to. So there's all different kinds of options.
Yeah. So perfect. Okay. So next up on the Rooster Endo, it's going to be a submission from Joseph Perezzo.
Wow. Really? Try again. Come on. Keep going.
Perezzo.
How do you spell it?
Perazzo. Perezzo.
Yeah, Perezzo. Yeah.
All right, so this is
Good job, Logan.
21 TE250i, 110 hours, and this was just refreshed. AXP skid plate, KTM handguards, a Cherubies frame and bottom fork guards, Polysport clutch cover guard, 7602 racing rear disc guard, Tusk brake pedal and oil filter cap, eBay special nice CNC chain guide and TPS guards, V-Force 4 reeds, FMF turbine core 2.0, Tokyo off-road crankcase pressure sensors fitting/tray, tubeless in rear, IRC JX8 rear tire, Midas C19 front, Kreft RC suspension, JT Twin Star 52 tooth sprocket, giant loop front tug strap, 3D printed 2-stroke oil cap, dust sleeve, just added SKDA heritage style graphics.
I do like the graphics.
Yeah, it looks like the new
the new
heritage
ones. Yeah. It was kind of funny when I saw it. Is like, is this just a kind of looks with that pipe when they have that characteristic stock KTM pipe or Husky pipe? I just go, oh, it's just kind of a stock bike, but yeah, not too bad. Like to go riding there. It looks like the ground's semi-moist. Looks fun.
It looks like it's a lot cooler than it is here.
Yeah, a lot cooler. And they had just recent rains. Some reason that bike looks, I'll say, laid back. I have no idea.
I think it's the way it's
just like the kickstand's in a little bit of a hole, or is the front number plate popped out just a little bit? Does he say tugger straps? You call it tugger straps? He's got a tugger strap on that thing, front of that thing, right?
Yeah, I don't think he said it has a tugger strap.
But he also said what was it? His relocation kit for the pressure sensor or pressure sensor tray, or what did he call it?
Yeah, Tokyo off-road crankcase pressure sensor fitting/tray.
Fitting/tray. I wonder what that is, because I've seen some different videos about some stuff. I mean, I haven't had any of these problems that people are having, but then I have a 2019, so I only have one. Mine's just in the crankcase. So that just sort of hangs out, or it's in there. So whoa, what was that?
Just a notification.
Yeah, that what tells you that this podcast sucks more than ever.
No.
Really? Oh,
no.
You don't have that notification set up?
Mm-mm.
Okay. It's a brass fitting that gets rid of the plastic part. So Brenda, she probably bought it for her brand new bike that doesn't need it. Good job, Brenda, buying into the marketing. What is Mark Daniels is throwing up Amazon links?
Yeah.
Well,
hopefully it's through the support DBT.
Yeah, it better be through the support DBT, or I'm not sharing any of my nice tequila that I got with you, buddy. Victor, who's not in the chat tonight, amazingly. That's why we don't have any strange, weird jokes tonight. He says he's driving out to have some of my new tequila.
Oh, nice.
Ready to come out. We need to set up the flat track pre Tech Talk Taco Tuesday flat tracks again.
Mm-hmm.
That's an important thing. This bike,
it's a soft Roost. Like, there's nothing about it that really stands out to me, but it's a solid bike, and I like the graphics.
Yeah, he said the other thing. He said eBay. What did he say? Amazon discard or
eBay special nice CNC chain guide and TPS guards. Nice CNC, one word.
Nice CNC, not eBay. Or it was eBay.
He bought it off of eBay.
eBay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Support companies like Bulletproof Designs. They make higher quality, better ones. Bulletproof Designs has stuff for your bike and the new 2023s and probably the 2024s soon after they come out, because those guys make stuff really fast.
Mm-hmm.
The radiator guards are really strong.
Perfect.
Tested them before in harsh conditions.
Okay, so next up's going to be Clinton Rivera, who sent me a video submission, but I was having a problem with the file. So this is a...
Well, did it involve like actually working the computer? Or
there's something about Apple videos.
Apple videos.
There's something about them.
Okay.
I can try... Let me...
This bike looks hammered.
A 21 KTM 500 EXCF, Maxxis Desert IT tires, Nitro Moose bibs, AEO suspension, Baja Designs headlight, flex bars, Scott Stampner BRP mount, Fastway pegs, seat concepts, XL tall seat, sick ass titty tail, and signal lights.
Did he spell it properly?
He did.
He spelled it titty.
Titty.
Wow.
Yoshimura exhaust and fuel tuner from Moto, Trail Tech GPS, double take mirror, 370 hours. Only issue I had is this bike started to randomly shut off. Called in and Jimmy suggested a TPS sensor. Turns out the spark plug was a little loose and super burnt out. New plug cured all my issues. Cheers from Canada.
Okay, so now I know something. That thank you for getting okay.
Yeah.
So number one, thank you for getting back to me on replying when I told you something and it was wrong, and then you found out what was right. That's good. I would like
helps
to
make this show better.
right. And now I can add to my list of things that will happen to your KTM because you took it out of the dealership is that your spark plug could come unscrewed and get loose. I don't know whether I'd like to ask him, like, you know how I sometimes ask people, they say, oh, my bike's doing this or that, and I say, what was the last thing you did to it?
Yeah.
Because I have never, on any of my KTM 500s that have millions of hours on them, changed a spark plug. In fact, I had a head rebuilt on one. I put the old spark plug back into it because it was working fine.
Yeah.
And there was nothing wrong with it. So I was literally gonna go up and get another one because I do have a, I have a new one up there. I have a couple new ones that are ready to go. I bought them just as spares, and I'm like, this one kept working. I'll just put it in here, and if I have to change it later, I'll change it later. 400 hours later, it's still the same spark plug. Yeah. Hey, this bike lives above the ground. Yeah. I said this bike looks hammered. It looks like used. I mean,
yeah, this bike is loved.
I don't know about loved.
Well, no, good memories have been made on this bike.
I think he loves it as much as I like my bikes.
Yeah,
because it kind of looks like one of my bikes, except he has a tank bag. So I'm not a big tank bag guy, but he has the bars. I'm on a different tire. I'm on a different tire, but I got the mooses like he does. Probably a quieter exhaust I have. But yeah, I think that's a well-traveled, well-used machine, and the tires he's running last forever. So that's he's probably a mileage guy, and everything's expensive in Canada. So that's how it works.
This is a roost for me, just because we learned something new.
He got back to us. Yeah, it's absolutely a roost, and I'm glad that I was able to answer his question, or somehow try to answer his question. And then he just told me, F you don't know what we're talking about. It was a spark plug.
Yeah.
So don't believe everything you get for free on the internets.
Yep.
Yeah, you could take it to a really good shop like Inside Line Moto down there in Orange County, California. Yeah, those guys. They were kind of pissed off. They didn't have anything to listen to, Matt. They had 2 hours of silence in their shop because you were ashamed of the show that you did with Logan.
Well, they're gonna have 6 hours of amazing content coming soon.
6.
Well, yeah, because we have 3 episodes I need to upload to the RSS feed. The one that you did when I was on vacation, the one that I did with Logan last week, and then this one.
And they're going to be unnumbered.
No. Yours and this one's going to be numbered. The one I did with Logan's going to be unnumbered. That one's just going to be the special.
Special because
I'll probably just bulk upload these tomorrow morning.
That show would have been so much better if you would have unmuted me when I called in.
Yeah. I saw what was going on in the background. I'm not sure it's such a bad thing that you were muted.
I was in the middle of a party, in the middle of a race.
Yes, and you're freezing constantly.
Well, because there was lots of people using the internet. It was like 2 frames per second. Okay. Well, maybe you should have just told me that, and then you would have had the audio. Because I was questioning. I was just checking to see how my show was doing. That's all I was doing.
Yeah. Your show was doing good. Logan and I had exactly as much prep as we usually do.
He carries tequila in the tank bag, so it's Roost.
Yeah.
That's what I say. How do you know this, Mark?
Well, who wins the Takamoto gift card?
That's a really good question.
There is a lot of solid bikes here.
Why don't you?
The KTM 620 is out of
it doesn't count. Yeah, nice picture.
Really great picture.
Yeah. Lots of history there. Let me have a little bit more Don Cayo here.
Justin with his YZ250 was really good. I really like that Clinton actually taught us something.
Right. I'm leaning on the Clinton.
I think it's
a little bit just because I do like it when people get back because
it's a coin flip for me and Justin.
Look, kids.
Oh, sorry, for Clinton and Justin.
I didn't learn all this stuff because I just plugged my ears to the old guys that knew everything like I do. I didn't just plug my ears anytime they started lip flapping like I do. I actually listened, and that's how I learned a lot of the things that I know. And now as much as I do the lip flapping, I do the listening too, because I want to, understand and learn these things. I wish I would remember exactly like what his symptoms were and stuff, so I could kind of tie that in a little bit better to what the loose spark plug syndrome might be. Although I have experienced this on XR80s and JT60s before.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had a spark plug fly out of the cylinder head, and it took all the threads with it because we'd probably over torqued it. But that's how I learned how to put a thread cert in on a cylinder head without taking the motor apart, and it still ran.
Most of the people in the chat are voting for the YZ, and Justin is actually in the chat saying it will take you to the victory zone or victory lane.
He's repeating ad slogans, so we've done our job even better.
Yeah.
Boy, so that was my second choice. Was the Yamaha.
Yeah, for me, and it's a coin flip for me, Justin or Clinton.
It had an air conditioning like feel
Mm-hmm.
to the whole thing.
Well, I really liked the log as a kickstand.
Yeah, that was good too. Boy,
That one's rough.
I'm looking for a coin to flip or something around here.
Well, we are
Clinton-
behind, actually.
Clinton, we were what?
We are behind on Takamoto segments.
Oh, we can't do two winners.
Okay.
You guys didn't do one last time?
No, we didn't do one last
You
time.
didn't do one.
No.
I only called in late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to call in and co-host from
let's
afar.
just do one winner. We can
One winner.
Want to flip a coin? I don't know if I have a coin.
Jason Abbott, why don't you help me out here? So you just tuned in late. Jason is a good friend of the show, a good friend of mine. This guy knows bikes. Jason, we're not going to tell you anything about these bikes.
I'm going to show the pictures, though.
We're going to show the pictures. So we're going to show two different pictures, and you are going to help us with Roost or Endo. Here's picture number one, because I know there's a little bit of delay.
Let me know when you feel like you've got a good feel for this bike.
Just get a good grasp of that bike. Just look at it, feel it, enjoy what this bike is bringing, and then, okay.
And then we'll show you the next one.
Yeah, he'll see it now. So go ahead and slip over to the next one.
Okay.
We'll give you a couple minutes to decide. But we're really torn between these two bikes for various reasons, which you know none of because you just tuned in late.
And then here's the other one.
Yeah, he called the first one a desert rat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Even though the submission was
and this is absolutely not a desert rat.
yeah, it's a guy from Canada, but
This is a meadow muffin, right?
That's a good one, Meadow Muffin.
Meadow muffin,
That looks more like a glacial valley to me,
right?
almost with a river running through it.
You know how whenever you ride out in those things, there's always cow patties out there,
Yeah.
and you always just hit them. Yeah.
I really like this picture that Justin submitted.
Yeah.
This is
So
a really
okay,
good photo.
Jason, you choose between those two, and this whole thing is off my shoulders. I'm just having some nice Don Cayo extra anejo. This stuff was not cheap either, by the way. I spent
YZ wins.
Okay.
All right, that settles it.
for the destination. Yeah.
And Justin's in the chat. So Justin, go ahead and reach out to me, and we will get you set up with the Takamoto gift card. Congratulations.
Yeah. No cows there too high. Brenda's going with it with the Brendan.
Yeah.
Brendan.
Yeah, but the chat was rooting for the YZ here.
Right.
So, good job, Justin.
Yeah, so we're just switching over. We're trying to, just move away from all those KTMs winning every week. And,
The
and
XEs, the FEs.
support our sponsors.
Yeah.
Blue Crew. By the way, Yamaha's still making the two-strokes. I got the YZ125, YZ250, and both of those bikes are available in an X version that can also take you to the victory lane. Hey, you know what? I got an entry to the 125 Dream Race, Pasha Dream Race at Hangtown.
Oh, you actually have...
I think
you got an invoice?
I got it. I got an invite to it. I'm pretty sure. I think I'm on the list. I don't know if I've been banned yet, but so I got to start getting my YZ125 a little bit more dialed in.
Nice.
So me neither. It was also kind of burnt on the end. What?
I'm not sure, but sweet.
Yeah. So, and he's buying his dad flex bars.
Yeah.
That's the way to go. Help out the old men with bad wrists, Justin. Good job. We really appreciate the support of the show. Show them kids how it's done. You know what I might try to do at that race? I don't think it'll work though, because I'm like solid 200 pounds these days. I was just thinking I'll just really work on my starts. Because in a 125 race, if you can get off the gate, you just start moving over on people. So I could start on one side or the other. And I can
Yeah.
get off the gate and just start moving over, and they can't pass you
Oh, there you
because
go.
all the bikes are so slow.
You should run a GoPro, too.
There's a GoPro of me racing a Husky 125 at Hangtown a few years back.
Oh.
Back in the old Dirt Rider days.
Nice.
There was an Italian Husky too, by the way.
Oh, the redheads.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like back when you used to have a Husky.
Yeah, I had a Husky then. So we have a couple. Well, we only have one question on the sheet, really. The other one's kind of a comment. That
Okay.
I was kind of hoping, but anyway, we'll just go to this one question. So JD Jetting Explained video that we have up on the Dirt Bike Test channel. Jacob Pye was asking, how do I adjust my idle? I have a 2015 CRF 450R with this tuner on it.
So the interesting thing is this JD Jetting Explained video was done probably 6 years ago,
Yeah, it's quite a few years old.
and we just get this comment on it, and I'm kind of curious. Did he just ask it and expect an answer to come flying out of the YouTubes, like
Maybe.
immediately, or
Maybe, I'm guessing.
or is he just like, or was he searching how to adjust his idle and this video came up? This is the interesting thing about, how we communicate and how we expect to get answers. So how do you adjust your idle? I'm pretty sure on that bike there's a little knob on the side of the carburetor that you just turn.
Well,
and
this is 2015 CRF 450R.
right. Yeah,
This is fuel injection.
there's a little black knob. It's the
Oh, you said the carburetor.
carburetor, throttle body.
Okay, there
So
we
it
go.
shows what I know. Yeah, on your carburetor, on your fuel injected bike, it's the same. It's in the same place that a carburetor would be. And maybe if you're asking how to adjust the idle, you don't know the difference. But anyhow, yeah, I was wrong. I said it.
I caught it.
Feels good, I think. No, the tequila feels good.
Yeah.
So there's probably a little black knob on that sucker, and you just turn it, and it'll be clearly explained in your owner's manual. And the tuner has very little, if any, effect on the idle. Although there are adjustments that you can do that will affect the richness of the idle. So I would set the JD tuner at 3. So I think that's right in the middle. And so it's stock, and then adjust the idle. And then if you want to go someplace from there, what you want, higher idle speed or whatever, do it that way. And then maybe you can kind of co-op. And so the idle, I believe, is, I'm trying to think of the blinking colors. It's a blinking color, and I think it's the fourth. I think it's the fourth one. There's low, mid, top, then idle adjust when you're clicking through the cycling, which I probably explained in that video. But the reason I do those videos is so that I don't have to remember it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I make the video and then I flush it out of my memory.
Yeah. It's why I have so many notebooks with me at all times.
Right.
Same thing.
What is Rick Rodriguez saying there?
So this was on the 23 KX450X first impression video. Rick thinks that the Kawasaki needs to work on that bike just a little bit. Can't take an MX bike map, slap an 18-inch rear wheel on the back and with a kickstand and call it a GNCC bike. I think Honda did a bit better with the Sierra 450 RX, but a lot of dealers are having these things on sale, so I may just jump into one for the price tag.
Hey, Rick, I'm going to tell you that
Kawasaki did a good job.
I was blown away by how good the Kawasaki worked. And I actually put, we were riding a lot around the motocross track at the SRA, but I actually put the aggressive map on the Kawasaki because then I could ride at a gear high, and that motor just loves to do that. But if there was kind of like one complaint that sort of resonated about the Honda, it was the big gas tank.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
It didn't bother me one bit, but then again, I ride bikes with big gas tanks all the time. But it didn't bother me, but it bothered a lot of people. And the Kawasaki has this tiny, small gas tank, and it didn't draw any complaints. So there is that. And a gas tank's not a cheap piece of equipment to manufacture. I mean, and then there's all kinds of accessory ones, aftermarket stuff. If you can get a good deal on a 23 KX450X, I think you're going to be very happy with that motorcycle.
Yeah.
But it is a motocross bike with with a kickstand. That's
But what's funny is how good that ends up working. For what its purposes.
Do you know what ignition coupler Trevor had on it? Did he say?
I wasn't told about that.
I wonder if he put it back to stock or he left it. He may
He
have.
might have just left because because I was trying all the maps on all the bikes, but I didn't even see the
on that one you have to change the
coupler out.
Yeah. So good. Yeah, Rick, go for it.
Yeah. Brendan Springer Davis.
But you could always get a Yamaha YZ450 FX.
Yeah.
And then you get a wide ratio transmission, which
power tuner.
You got the power tuner app, so you can make the bike do anything. And in reality, one of the biggest things that I noticed when I was racing around that Grand Prix is that if it had been any faster, the Honda, the gas for sure, those two, and then a little bit the Kawasaki, but not as much, would have run out of gearing. And so the Yamaha had the widest spread. Although I noticed the gaps, and I usually don't complain about them. But when we ride 3 bikes that have no gaps whatsoever, tight ratio motocross gearboxes, the gaps stood out. But I'm sure that I could play with the map a little bit on the Yamaha, and then the gaps wouldn't matter because it makes so much power. Yamaha, sponsor of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday.
Thank you very much. Victory Zone.
Yeah, the Victory Zone.
And Rooster Endo.
And Rooster Endo wins too.
All right, so Brendan Springer Davis chimed in on YouTube saying, dirt bike test idea. Are the Chinese knockoff bars the same quality as the Pro Tapers and various brands made in the Chinese factories? Are they identical and they only have different stamps?
No. If there was... So in all honesty, if there was one thing that for sure that I probably... Foot pegs and handlebars would be the 2 things I would be worried about not buying a good quality product. Mm-hmm. And, in all my life and all my riding, I've never bent a set of Fasst Company Flex handlebars.
Yeah, I've heard they're pretty tough from...
Dude, I mean,
before they were sponsors.
I've seen guys, do crazy stuff with them. But in all of my normal tip-overs, crashes, whatever... Not bent a set yet. And this is on adventure bikes, too, that have a little bit of heft when they fall over and tip over.
Now, could this be because it does have that flex feature to it, so it has a little bit of play to...
Yeah, could be some of that, but they're just built strong, built tough. But, yeah, don't go to China. Yeah, don't go to China for the handlebars. Don't go to... I've seen Chinese handlebars snap. I've seen Chinese foot pegs snap. And both of those things, generally the end result of those things snapping is from a decent force, and the resulting crash was nowhere near the money you saved by buying cheap stuff. So get good stuff. Shop support through Rocky Mountain MCATV. They have Chinese stuff too. They make Chinese stuff too. Mm-hmm. They have like lots of knockoff lower price products as well, but I believe that they do their diligence when they test some of that stuff. And I've kind of seen the results of some of it in the past. And the Chinese muffler on the CRF 230 still working.
Yeah, good.
Just put a Chinese muffler on, and then when the muffler rattles apart and then the packing blows out, at least you're just loud. You're not dead.
Right. Well, I think, unless chat has any more questions, that's kind of everything.
Oh, you got a hot date?
No.
Oh, no?
We don't have to wrap up. We do have the product of the week we need to go through, too.
Oh, yeah, I was going to product of the week it here.
Yeah. With some gloves.
Climb gloves. Climb, a fine sponsor of the show. But I always... I bring our sponsors' products in first. They're just easy because I have them and I use them. Mm-hmm. But in the last 2 years, and I talked about the Windstopper gloves, the... What do they call them? Inversion gloves. I talked about them a few shows ago back when it was cold. Now it's warm, so I'm wearing normal gloves all the time now. Mm-hmm. It kind of occurred to me that I start searching for my new gloves, and usually I don't. I go to my old gloves all the time, and I kind of wear them. And now I started searching for my new gloves, and I may have stolen your new gloves, allegedly.
My hand. Well,
you didn't get your gloves?
I didn't get my gloves, but we were different sizes. I'm pretty sure. I'm mediums.
Okay, then I didn't steal them.
Yeah.
Well, let me check here. Because it is the gloves.
Those look like the gloves I'm waiting on.
Oh, they do? Yeah.
Because I'm waiting on Mojave and Dakar gloves, and those look like Mojave Dakar gloves.
They are. There's one of each.
That's even like.
Is
that a medium? That might be my glove. That's a medium.
No, large. But
okay, never mind.
Large. Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
So here's the thing. I had been complaining a little bit about some of the fit. Just and they're always asking, hey, what gloves fit? Because I wear a lot of different stuff as well, because I'm wearing it for photo modeling and different things. And we were always kind of tooling around with the fit, and so they got it right. The new gloves are really, really good. The Mojave and the Dakar gloves, not the pro gloves, because it's funny, they have a lot of different gloves. These are just the dirt biking gloves. There's not a lot of extra protection on them and stuff like that. Mojave glove for any time, and then if you want a nice vented glove, no, the Mojave when it's nice vented glove, the Dakar for any time. And one is padded, one is much less padded. And then if you like those gloves that are like slippers, which I don't like, then they have the XC. The XC gloves that don't have any Velcro closure or anything like that. But man, these things have been really durable. I right away, like some of the palm grippy stuff kind of came off a little bit quick, but it hasn't affected the grip of the glove. It was more of an aesthetic thing. But what good gloves. I mean, super stoked. So Climb Mojave and Dakar gloves, the new, like I said, the new ones, the only ones they have available anymore because they sold out of everything pretty much. But the new gloves are really good. Super, super stoked. Especially, I used to always wear Mojave all the time, and I've kind of gone back to wearing the Dakar a little bit more, which is good. Yeah. Just a little bit more protection on a little bit of padding, and it's not, padding sometimes just doesn't work out so well. So I a lot of times I don't even run the closure down, but it fits so good on my hand I don't feel like I need to run the closure down. So pretty good. So the new gloves are large, that are really large. So
I think he's saying they're actually larges now.
Yeah, and I have we'll say I have a stumpy hand. Yeah, they're short and they're kind of fat, but not very long fingers. So my biggest problem is I need to wear a large just for the size of my palm and the fatness of my fingers down here. But like a lot of times the length isn't long enough. So on almost every glove, when I wear the glove, that I'm just faking it on the tip. This tip doesn't really. So I'm kind of folding down. It looks like there should be an extra, half an inch, 18 centimeters into the metric system. But that's normal. That's kind of normal for me. So it doesn't bother me. But like a lot of other gloves, like sometimes they kind of pinch at the palm, or at the tip of the finger. They'll pinch even though my finger isn't going all the way out there. And then there's other ones that are just like all floppy and wandering around. But those ones they
I really hope we get a clip of this audio.
Well, there's a guy that's supposed to be editing that. John. Is he doing his job, or did he drop off the radar?
No, he's been doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's been doing a good job.
Are we pumping that stuff on the tubes or the internets or
they haven't reached YouTube yet, no.
How come?
Other 9 to 5 job.
Other 9 to 5 job. Matt, you could be staring at a computer the rest of your life instead of riding dirt bikes. It's a path that you have to choose. I thought that I wanted money, and that's why I raced dirt bikes. Yeah, so large was usually a medium in the climb. Could be. Yeah, could be. I thought their sizing was kind of consistent with everything, and so a lot of times I have a lot of Climb XL gloves, but it was mostly because they were kind of, it wasn't that the length, it was more like the thickness, the width. So kind of just at the finger. But then it would also bunch up in my palm because the palm was actually too big. But if you're just out riding, like, and whether it's Climb or any other company, like, try different gloves. You'll be amazed at it's like wearing good underwear. Something that's not all bunched up and causing problems. Like, if you have good gear, your ride gets better. It's just, it's just like you're not always. It's not like somebody poking you all the time. Like after they poke you long enough, you get used to it, and you're just like, oh, that's normal. But when you don't get poked, you go, oh, that's so much nicer. That makes yeah. And Mark says gloves are like helmets. Some fit and some don't fit everyone. Yeah, yep. This is true. That's why I say you got to try, because you have weird shaped hands or something funny. My hands are pretty normal except for the length of my fingers.
And I'm super fortunate that the Climb gloves have actually always fit me.
Yeah,
I'm I know I'm one of the lucky few. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not few, but I'm fortunate.
Yeah, there's like I said, and gloves are actually pretty. I mean, for how much stitching and sewing and stuff that goes into those things, I'm amazed at how inexpensive they are. I'm sometimes surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And I know guys that ride in like they gardening gloves and different things I've seen before, and they're like, yeah, these things just they fit me. They're better than my other things. And it's like, some of these guys are just perennial cheapskates.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other guys that just honestly they couldn't find something that fit, and they went and found something that fit them. But maybe they didn't try hard enough as well. Because I'm not. I'm just laughing because some of the gnarliest guys I rode with literally rode in those leather gardening gloves. Just they're kind of that yellowy leather gardening gloves, and they thought they were the best gloves ever. But then you realize how old they were, and that's what they've always ridden in. They just never migrated to the. Luckily, they switched over to regular boots, but they switched from their lineman boots to the more modern boots. So, anyways, I think we're gonna wrap this show up. Thanks to Don Cayo, my co-host. Yeah, good co-hosting over there. Kept their mouth shut. A little bit better than Logan, actually. Yeah.
Got you talking a little bit more.
Think so.
A little bit more loosely.
Really?
No, you're same as usual.
Normal. Yeah. Still working on my book, Monkey Butt 2. Haven't done any more writing on it. So, just in case you were wondering, go ahead and tell a friend about this podcast. Like, share, do all that stuff. I mean, really, do that stuff. Like, put it on. We need to have a contest.
Whoever gives us the most publicity.
Yeah, something like that. I need to legitimately get a good prize and have some sort of a contest to kind of, because that's everybody likes a contest.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can
like Roost or Endo.
Right, that's a contest. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
have a contest where we make reward. I get the right word. Yeah, reward our audience for spreading the good word.
Yeah.
Maybe, because somebody can learn something from this, somebody, somewhere, someplace, somehow. I would hope. So this is the only day that I'm answering questions on motorcycles. The rest of the day, I'm just going back to gardening and cooking questions. And
there we go.
Yeah, with that, so send me an email, and I'll just I'll forward you back the link to how to join into the show.
Yeah.
And you'll have to listen to it. And then the problem is I'll forget which episode it is if I ever respond back to you about when we answered your question. And then you'll have to listen to 6 of these things, which is really good for our numbers, but not good for your time. So anyways, thanks a lot, guys, for joining in. Thanks for participating in Roost and Endo. Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
Got anything exciting coming up? You said 9 to 5 job way too many times.
Yes. A lot of CSV files, but that part's done. It's going to be a lot more engaging work there. But do look for, I'm going to be focusing a lot on some DBT stuff because admittedly, I'm a little behind.
Right.
I do apologize to everyone.
I'm looking for the beginner bike video.
You and me both.
I really want to know the outcome of that whole thing.
Yeah.
That's gonna track, and we're thinking about doing a boot comparison. And I was actually thinking about like engaging some of our audience here to help with that.
Yeah.
As well, because we might have some boots. So
That'd be
okay,
sweet.
everybody.